Say hello to the bad guy.
Hey, yo!
It's my life in the box in front of me. The guitar in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me laying face down.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Say hello to the bad guy. So, this is going to be a little bit of a different video than what you're used to seeing from me. But I'm a pretty firm believer in if an opportunity presents itself, you take it. And so in this instance, I happen to have a little bit of a source. You go figure, bad guy might know somebody. But I was given a very, very fantastic opportunity by somebody in this community who you all know and love, who is very, very credible, and his name will remain anonymous at this point, just for obvious reasons. But he gave me a great opportunity. He presented me with what I like to call a master list, okay? And what this list is all the Arcade1up releases for the year 2024. Now, maybe not all of them, and I'm sure this is, subject to change and things like that. But I was given full, complete authorization by this guy to share this list with everybody. Because when I came into this community a couple years ago and started making content less than a year ago, I came in here to have fun, right? I think that's what we're all doing. And if you've already seen what's to come in this video, I apologize. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or steal anybody's thunder. But when you're presented with information like this, I'm sorry, but it needs to be spread around. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and withhold this information from people because I don't feel that's the right thing to do. I was given information that somebody trusted me with and gave me full authorization to do whatever I wish with it, and I wish to share that with everybody else in this community because I think that is important. If I know something, you should know something, and before you're starting to second guess where this is coming from, no, this is not a joke. I'm not screwing around. I'm not going to cut away and end up being in the middle of a busy highway or on top of a mountain or something. No, this is going to be legitimate. I'm going to go through these games on this list, give you a little bit of an opinion what I think about them, and I want you all to know everything that I know. I think that's the right thing to do with this. If it prevents me from doing content for the rest of the year or all of next year, I don't care. When I know these kinds of things exist, I want to know about them because I would like to prepare. I want to know what's out there, what I need to save money for, how to make room in my arcade, and something like this with this amount of games on it would actually really, really help. And like I said, take this list with a grain of salt. We don't know anything about this list other than the games that are on them. We don't know the form factor on all of them. We don't know which order they're going to be released or when they're going to be released. We don't know the skins that are going to be on them. We don't know the price points yet on them. All we know is the games list. So the first game on this list we're going to look at real quick is 720. Now, this is a game I'm kind of surprised to see was on their radar. I mean, maybe this was before my time. I don't know. I'm not really sure what their thought was. Maybe it's a really popular game. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of Skate or Die. It just seems like all you do is you skateboard around a skate park, you jump on jumps and on half pipes and do tricks and try to get the highest score. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but I don't know if that one's for me. The next game, PacMan Royale. Now, I'm very unfamiliar with this game. I also know it's another version of Pac-Man, but everything I've seen about this one suggests that this is a more recent title, and it's Pac-Man in some sort of a battle royal form, where you battle other Pac-Mans or you battle ghosts or whatever, but I mean, it looks kind of cool if this is the game that they're referring to. The next one is SNK Big Red XL, and this one really surprises me, given the fact of the SNK MVSX. I mean, is it going to be a clone of that? Probably not, because you're probably not going to get the same amount of games on it, but the cabinet's probably going to look very similar, and you're probably going to have a lot of similar games on it. So if that one's true, that one's kind of surprising, being able to acquire a cabinet and a license of technically a direct competitor. The next one is Street Fighter 3 Street Fighter Alpha Legacy cabinet. So this is going to be their 2024 version of the Street Fighter Legacy, except this time you're not going to get rehashes like you got with Street Fighter 2 Deluxe and Shinku Hadouken and Yoga Flame. You're going to get Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 3 Alpha, which are games that people have been clamoring about for the last couple years. Well, it seems like in 2024, you're finally going to be able to get your hands on it. Curious to see what the form factor of this is. It is a Legacy, so is it going to come with a riser? Is it not? Who knows? Next one, OffRoad 3-Player XL. This one seems like it is going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be their best driver to date. So if you look at the off-road cabinet and you have the 3 steering wheels there, so apparently from what we're reading here on this list is they're going to be able to pull this one off. It's going to be 3-player simultaneous action with steering wheels in an XL form factor. Kind of curious how they're going to pull this one off because the new XLs, they're really nice, but without the riser they seem to be a little bit top heavy. So I'm curious if you got 3 steering wheels weighing the top half of that cabinet down. Might have to do something with the base of this thing to make sure it's not so wobbly. But I think this one is going to be fantastic and it's going to sell really, really well. The next one, Lethal Enforcers. So, Time Crisis, what? Yeah. You can take Time Crisis and get rid of it because Lethal Enforcers is a fantastic game. And I swear there's something I remember back in the day that Lethal Enforcers was actually being removed from arcades because the violence was too real. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I know one thing for me. If I had to pick a shooter cabinet between Time Crisis and Lethal Enforcers, I'm saving my money because you could bet with Time Crisis $749, Lethal Enforcers is probably going to be about the same. That's probably their standard price for a shooter cabinet like that. And for me, Lethal Enforcers is in my top 5 shooters of all time. So I'm really, really excited about that one. I bet a lot of other people will be also. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 XL. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2, if you look past all the problems they've had since the day that the original was released, if you look past all that, it's actually a really cool cabinet. It's a great looking cabinet, one of their best ones. I mean, yeah, the online was a little bit sketchy at first, and maybe has some issues still. But you'd like to think that by the time this is released, which may be, who knows, for all we know, the end of next year, they get all those issues hashed out, and you have a beautiful cabinet in an XL form factor in one of the best fighting games of all time. You have the Alien vs. Predator Big Blue Volume 2 is what they're calling it. So the only thing I can think about this one is why they're calling it Volume 2 is because they're calling it Big Blue. Because to my knowledge, the Alien vs. Predator cabinet, the blue one that they're referring to, I don't know if that was ever referred to as Big Blue, but considering that Arcade1up has already released a Big Blue cabinet in the Capcom, that's why they're calling this Volume 2. I don't know, but all I know is we're finally going to get Alien vs. Predator, another game that a lot of people always wanted and that I'm extremely excited about because, I mean, come on, who doesn't love Alien vs. Predator and just beating up and smashing aliens and killing everything in sight? I mean, I think that's going to be a fantastic game, and I'm really, really excited about that one. You got Star Wars XL. Now, this one should not come as a surprise to anybody, really. Star Wars has been one of their best cabinets to date, even though it's, you know, what, Gen 3 cabinet, and they were so sought after that they released a new version of it, or I guess I should say re-released a version of it last year. So I think this is one everybody expected to see. Star Wars in an XL. I mean, how could you go wrong with that? We'll see if they make any sort of improvements, like a light-up coin door, or if they maybe do the 3D plastic graphics and trim on the cabinet, make it look a little bit more authentic. If they can pull that off, I think that'll be fantastic. But yeah, Star Wars XL. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. Track and field. This was one that I think a lot of people wanted, but I think a lot of us were maybe unsure as to how they were going to pull it off. Because if you know anything about track and field, it is button mashing to the absolute extreme. And yeah, we know the buttons and joysticks on these cabinets aren't the best quality, and I don't know if they're able to handle some type of strenuous beating that it's going to be taking. But so maybe we'll see some button and joystick upgrades with this track and field. You know, what kind of other games they're going to put on it, who knows? But I know this is a game a lot of people wanted. not so much for me, but hey, good on you if you want it, because it seems like it's coming. This next one is very, it's an odd choice. I'm kind of curious as what they're going to do about this. It excites me being a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, as you can see. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. Yeah, so the Cowabunga Collection, for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure everybody knows, was released on consoles. Okay, so it's a collection of all the Ninja Turtle games from the 8-bit, the 16-bit era, back then, all the Game Boy, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis games. I mean, you have all the 3 Turtle games, well, I guess all 4, Turtles 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have all the 3 versions of the Tournament Fighters, you have the 3 Game Boy games, the Sega Genesis Hyperstone Heist. I mean, if it's a cabinet with a collaboration of all those games on it, including the 2 arcade games, boy, if they can pull that one off in a true-to-form factor of the original Turtles arcade machine with original graphics, that's going to be huge. I think that one's going to sell so well. Now, if they can sneak Shredder's Revenge on there, boy, would that be something. Don't know if they're going to. Maybe, you know, who knows? The leak could be wrong. Maybe it was referring to a Shredder's Revenge cabinet. I don't know. All I know is that the list says Cowabunga Collection, which, again, in itself is 10 different Ninja Turtle games. So, I mean, to me, that's awesome. Day one buy here. And the last one on this list, I saved the best for last. This is one that I think everybody has an interest in. Finally gonna get Robotron Smash TV. About freaking time. Now, if I know anything about Arcade1up, they know we want that cabinet, so don't expect to see it until probably this time, Christmas time next year. I mean, if we're lucky, it will be announced early 2024, but I have a feeling we all know better than that, and they're going to get our hopes up. They're going to build it up like I just did. It's going to be the best for last. I mean, Robotron Smash TV, come on. Eugene Jarvis himself, you know, kind of hinted towards that. At least he said that he would like to see it. You know, not necessarily say he predicted it, but, you know, maybe he did. But, boy, how fun is that going to be? Having 2 joysticks going at the same time. Robotron blasting everything in sight. Same with Smash TV. 2 iconic games, some of that are in the Video Game Hall of Fame, or they deserve to be anyways. For me, that's going to be a day one buy, and I have imagined, and I have a funny feeling, that might be one you might want to pre-order, because it may be hard to get, because I know that a lot of people are going to get that. So, that's the list. That is the leak list for 2024. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Is it going to be exactly like this? Who knows? Probably not. I'm sure there's going to be some curveballs in there. We already know, we've heard rumors about this claw machine, which was left off of this list, but was also part of all this information, which I didn't really touch on. But apparently the claw machine is going to be a real thing, so there's going to be other things, you know, weird cabinets like the Casino Cade and whatnot. So that's it, everybody. Like I said, I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder with this. I just want to do my due diligence and my duty. If I get presented any information like this, so if you're not subscribed to my channel and you don't really know what I'm all about, it's not really about late breaking news and that kind of stuff. I'm more about a game player. I'm just going to go out and do stupid stuff and have fun and try to make people laugh. But I do have an inside source, and this source is very credible. And I'm not always going to report on the news, but if I get handed something like this, it's a bombshell, I am going to make sure that information gets passed along to everybody else. Because the home arcade community has been so good to me, and I've been so fortunate to get to meet a lot of great people and get to do a lot of cool and fun things, memorable things. So it's the least I could do is pass this information along to you guys. So thank you for watching.